In this video, we're going to look at decimal division. In this problem, it's asking us 17 and 2/10 divided by 6. So how many 6's are in 17 and 2/10? So I can ask myself, how many times can I subtract 6 from 1? Well, like none, so I'm going to have to ask, how many times can I subtract 6 from 17? Or 6 times what is close to 17? I'm going to say about 2. 2 times 6 is 12. And 7 minus 2 gives me 5. Bring down my 2. 6 times something is close to 52. Let's try 6 times 8. Well, that's 48. What about 6 times 9? 6 times 9 is 54, so that's too much. So it's going to be 6 times 8 is 48. When I subtract that, 12 minus 8 is going to be 4. And then I'm going to bring down a 0 just to carry it out to the hundredths place. 6 times what is close to 40? Well, 6 times 8 is too much. So let's try 6 times 6. That's 36. That works. So 6 times 6 is 36. Subtract that. 0 minus 6, I can't do that. So I'm going to trade my 4. And then that's a 10 minus 6 is 4. And oh my goodness, it looks like there's a pattern here. So I got 40 before, and I have 40 again. So if I divide 40 by 6, I'm going to get 6 again. And 6 times 6 is 36. So I'm starting to get a repeating pattern. So I'm going to put a little repeating sign up there above the 6 to show that the 6 will continue to repeat. I need to bring up my decimal point. And so my answer is going to be 2 and 86 hundredths repeating. But what would that look like if I wanted to round to the nearest tenth? Nearest tenth. So I have to look at the tenths place, which is the first place after the decimal, and I look to the right. If the number is 5 or greater, I'm going to increase my tenths place by 1. And since 6 is greater than 5, I will increase the 8 to 9. And so my final answer is going to be 2 and 9/10. Now let's look at a problem where there is a decimal point in our divisor. When that happens, we are going to move our decimal points because we want to divide with a divisor that's a whole number. So in order to make 6 hundredths a whole number, we have to move the decimal point 2 places to the right. And that would leave us with a 6. And then whatever I do to the outside of the number, I have to do to the inside of the number. So I have to move the decimal point inside in the dividend 2 places as well. 1, 2. So let's rewrite that problem, and now I would have 50 and 77 hundredths divided by 6. And so now let's divide that. 6 times what is close to 50? 6 times 8 is 48. And 50 minus 48 give me 2. And I bring down the 7. And then 6 times what is close to 27? 6 times 4 is 24. And now I subtract. 7 minus 4 is 3. And I bring down another 7. Now 6 times what is close to 37? 6 times 6 is 36. Subtract 1. 7 minus 6 gives me 1. And I'm going to add another 0. And 6 times 1 is 6. So I'm going to put that 6 right there. I'm not going to finish that problem because I just want to know out to the thousandths place. And then I have to bring up my decimal point. and so my quotient is 8 and 461 thousandths. But if I want to round this problem to the nearest hundredth, what would I do? I need a nearest hundredth. So first we have to figure out where the hundredths is again. So nearest hundredths would be the second place after the decimal. So I underline the place and I look to the right. If that number is less than 5, then the hundredths will remain the same. But if it's greater than 5 or greater, then I have to bump my hundredths up 1 or increase by 1. Since this thousandths place is less than 5, I'm just going to leave 6 the way it is. So rounded to the nearest hundredth, it would be 8 and 46 hundredths. Is my final answer. Okay, we're going to solve one last problem together, and this is 4/10 is in the divisor. So because that's true, I'm going to have to make that a whole number by moving it one place, and whatever happens on the outside must go on the inside as well. So rewrite this problem, and that's going to be 4 into 5 and 15 hundredths. Okay, so let's look. 4 times what gives me close to 5? 4 times 1 is 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. Bring down the 1. 4 times what is 11? Well, 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 4 is 12, so I'm going to go with a 2. 2 times 4 is 8. 11 minus 8 is going to be 3. Bring down the 5. 4 times what is close to 35? I think that's going to be a 7. 7 times 4 is 28. Well, let's try something bigger. 8 times 4 is 32. 9 times 4, let's figure that out because sometimes I need to do this on the side. So 4 times 8 is 32, and 4 times 9 is 36, so 9 is going to be too much. So it's going to be 8. 4 times 8 is 32. And I bring my 5 minus 2 is a 3. I'm going to bring a 0 down one more just to see how far we can go. 4 times what is 30? Well, we figured out earlier that 4 times 7 is 28. So I'm going to put a 7 there. And that's going to be 28. And that leaves me with 2. So, and then I bring up my decimal point. So my answer is 1 and 287 thousandths. So what if I want to round this to the nearest hundredth? What would we do? Nearest hundredth, we have to ask again, where's the hundredths place? That's in the second place after the decimal. So underline that. Look to the right. That is 5 or greater. That means I have to increase my hundredth place by 1. So my final answer is going to be 1 and 29 hundredths.